Hey listeners, powered up by Mazer Group, this is the Turnin podcast. I'm your host, John Mazer. Hello listeners, welcome to the podcast. We've got Larry Hertz here from NADA. Larry, thanks for joining.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
It was my pleasure. It was after the invite to your dealer panel, which we're doing on Thursday, which I'm very excited about. You're in town. Is it a NADA reason you're in town, or are you here concurrently with Agribition?
Kind of multifaceted, really. The Ag Manufacturers of Canada conference is happening this week for a couple of days, which is what we're going to be having the panel at.
Yeah.
And it's running concurrent with Agribition.
Yeah.
And it's a great spot to connect with dealers and our short line manufacturers and such.
Yeah.
So it's killing a lot of birds with one stone.
Absolutely. And you got to love the situations that do that. So your title, Vice President of Western Canada?
Canada. So
Canada.
we used to be the Canada West equipment dealers.
Yes, and I remember.
And that was probably 8 or 9, 10 years ago. And then we became Western about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
When we merged with some like associations in the U.S. And then just last July, so just over a year ago, we merged again and became North American. So I look after all of our dealers in Canada.
Gotcha. So what's amateur hour over here? And I shouldn't because I got to put a plug for Wally in here. He sits on NADA's board, correct?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So objectives of the North American Equipment Dealers Association.
Yeah. So we're really all about advocacy. So that's kind of our big pillar.
Yep.
We advocate, elevate, and educate are really our 3 pillars. So advocate, on behalf of dealers with manufacturers. So, for Mazer Group, because you guys are New Holland. So we would meet annually with New Holland or more than that if we need to. And we also work with government on possibly taxation or right to repair issues or whatever have you. And then on the elevate pillar, we basically do all kinds of programs and products and services for dealers that help them to be more successful. And then on the educate, we have a high-level education and training arm called Dealer Institute that does everything from $500 a day parts counter training to service counter training to leadership training to for an executive team to do multi-year training. And then we have also a foundation, Canada Equipment Dealers Foundation, that basically provides scholarships and capital funding for projects like SaskPoly's new build in Innovation Place in Saskatoon. So.
Gotcha. Nice. Right on. So in that regard, did you have anything to do with, or do you have anything to do with the Assiniboine Community College in Brandon with their tech program? Yeah,
we do. Yeah, we basically work in Canada with, I would say, 4 main colleges. So in Alberta, it would be Olds College.
Yep.
In Saskatchewan, would be SaskPoly Tech out of Saskatoon primarily. In Manitoba, it'd be Assiniboine Community College, and then in Ontario, it's Fanshawe College.
Yeah.
So it's all the ones that have the skilled trades specific to mechanical trades, specifically to agriculture.
Right. And so for our listeners, like you mentioned scholarships and that sort of thing, how would one go about, applying or getting a scholarship? Is there something that you monitor, or is there like an online, application? How does that work?
We basically do an online application. So, you as a dealer principal could make an application for 5 or 6 of your staff that are going from their second to their third year apprentice, or a parts person or a salesperson, anybody that's taking any additional training.
Yep.
They can basically apply for a scholarship. Then we then have that matched by the dealership, and then we send a check to that individual. So it works out super well.
So it's essentially sponsored by a dealer to individuals.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
And,
right on.
And so half of the funding is coming from the dealer and the other half from the foundation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent stuff. It's always good. I mean, like the motive to get our younger generations, which we were just talking about before we started here, into something like that is always a good mandate for a company to do that. It's like an apprenticeship program through us, right, for our mechanics. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We just it was interesting. Yesterday I stopped by Agribition, and I was going to stop by and talk to the new Saskatchewan Distance Learning Center. So about 5-6 years ago now, we started with the SunWest Distance Learning Center in Kenniston. We started a high school program.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's exactly what it is we're trying to get grade 10, 11, and 12, but primarily grade 11 and 12 interested in the mechanical side.
Yep.
So basically becoming an ag equipment technician. So
Right.
if they can take some courses in high school, kind of, we used to call it shop or industrial arts or whatever.
Absolutely,
And,
It's prerequisites, if you will.
it's like, us guys, we usually wanted to take home ec to meet a girl, all that kind of thing. But really what we wanted,
charged,
what we wanted to be is we wanted to be in the shop, welding or taking apart an engine or building something out of wood or whatever it was. So, those industrial arts courses have kind of fallen back. And so now we're doing this virtually across the province with the new Saskatchewan Distance Learning Center. Darren Gasper's the CEO there now, and great guy. We work with Saskatchewan Polytech in Saskatoon. Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Sounded like Foster Brooks there.
That's okay. Yeah. He went an octave lower there for like 2 seconds, and it was kind of sexy, actually.
Oh, that's good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyways, it's worked out super well. And so we have basically high school students from across the province now are taking ag equipment technician and parts technician for the parts department. And precision ag is, of course, we're going to start coming up in hopefully February of 24. And if not, it'll be spring of 25.
Yeah, that was my next question, is because I'd heard rumblings, and I'm not sure if it was you and I talking, but that's a huge one for is to find good people in the technology sector. Because I mean, when we moved out here, Larry, when we came to Saskatchewan, back in Manitoba, mechanics were a huge thing with, say, a combine demo. Like we could go into fields and throw pans and show that the unit, how well it works and how efficient it is. But moving out here and the big broad acre farms, 50, 60, 70, 100,000 acre farms are a huge push for technology. And so there was talks at one point of a high school program for precision ag. So that got me really excited. So you're saying 24 spring?
Well, we're hoping that second semester, so starting February of 24, and if not, it'll be I guess September of 24.
Yeah, gotcha.
And actually Mazer Group, some of your folks have been involved in helping to write the curriculum for that, and it's been a great course, and we're actually starting to move that across Canada as well.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff, like really exciting stuff, because again, it's hard to find. Right now it's just hard to find people that are very interested in that. Like, I mean, they're the basics of a dealership, part sales and service, but that's just, again, it's a segment of the industry that's just emerging so quickly. And it's been here for a while, but more predominantly now in these big farms. So
exactly. And it's interesting too, because a lot of there's kind of getting to be a bigger divide between urban and rural all the time. Right. Yep. And so, a lot of kids now, they don't really know what agriculture is. They might drive by your dealership and they're like, that's farm equipment, but they have no idea what a combine is or a sprayer or whatever. And so if you got those kids that are a little bit techie and they want to stay closer to home, especially if they're in rural Saskatchewan, it's perfect.
Oh, it's awesome.
Because they can, be in a Yorkton, Raymore, Watrous, wherever it is, and work at home and be a precision specialist and work with the technology on the equipment versus the mechanical side.
Yeah.
Right.
You just put a plug in for Yorkton, Watrous, and Raymore dealers.
There you go.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And going back to like the high
and
school.
Moosomin.
Yeah. And Moosomin and Regina. Yeah. And then, I think we got all of Saskatchewan covered. It's funny you mentioned like the kids that, haven't been around the equipment. That was the one day in high school. No, I think it was in middle years. Or grade 6. I'm not sure when it was, but that was the one day I got to be really cool because we arranged a field trip to the dealership in Brandon, and kids got to drive around in tractors and combines and stuff like that. Yeah. So there was some, I got a little bit of popularity out of that.
You were flirting with every girl in class that day.
Let me drive one of the tractors and that group come with me now.
No doubt. We did that in college too. We used to have a, I think we called it a hard times dance.
Yeah.
And so we used to, go to the local equipment dealers in Saskatoon at the U of S there, and we'd borrow a tractor or a combine or whatever. And we were all farm kids, so we'd bring it back in good shape. But it was a lot of fun driving a combine through downtown Saskatoon to get it to the campus, to drive around the campus for the parade.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to see it. Wants to be a part of it, right? So back to NADA. I see it. I haven't registered yet. Don't know if I'll be able to make it, but you have a dealer conference coming up, do you not?
Yeah, coming up the 29, 30, 31 of January.
And that is
in Dallas.
In Dallas, yeah. Oh, so that's exciting. So at a conference like that, is it more like a big convention where there is, just one hall and a speaker, or is there kind of different things you can register for, or like how does that conference work?
Yeah, we've kind of made it into a 2+ day conference, so it's really 2 full days.
Yeah.
We have a reception the evening before, but it's really great for networking, meeting with other dealers across North America. It's very much a North American conference.
Yep.
A lot of high-level speakers, a lot of industry-specific information, but also motivational things as well. And lots of really good breakouts, and we have a lot of support from our short line manufacturers and mainline manufacturers and vendors and such. So lots of ways to discover something new and learn a lot and have some fun.
Yeah.
Some nice social activities too.
Absolutely. Do you have, is there any special guests, like notable special guests coming to the conference at all?
There's one surprise, which I don't
keep it under wraps then, man.
I don't even think I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, is it an act or is it a speaker? Or is
it's more of a political,
Oh.
a political guy. So
Yeah, we'll let listeners.
probably a legislator of some sort.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it at that then. Take me back to the origins of Larry. Like, did you grow up on a farm?
Oh my.
Yeah. You
Where
don't have
do
to
we
go
start?
back as far as you want,
Yeah.
but I know like where I'm going with this, Larry, is I know you spent some time with New Holland
Yeah.
and eventually in your position to Native. So I guess just your introduction into the agriculture world.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up on a mostly grain farm in Kindersley, Saskatchewan, just west of Kindersley, and that was my intent, was to go back to the farm. So I took vocational agriculture, the diploma course at U of S, and really, that was definitely my career path.
Yeah.
Although those were the dry 80s, that'll date me right there. So that wasn't an option. Ended up getting into some total non-farm careers, and eventually got into agribusiness and worked for some retail co-ops in Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba for a while. And just I love agriculture. It's just been in my blood. It's like Ryder Green, even though I live in Calgary.
That's right. Yeah.
I still bleed green, and
and
not this year though.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately not.
pretty tough to be a Ryder fan this year. But
Yeah, you guys have come back.
Yeah.
And I have to be like, we won't get too deep into it. I like cheering for the Riders.
yeah, I know. You're probably, Manitoba boy, it's probably tough to watch the Bombers get beat by Montreal.
It was, but we won't talk too much about it. But
No.
anyway.
Yeah. So then, Kindersley, and did a couple of years at the U of S, and had a really great career in the co-op system. Really enjoyed that. Led me into some other things. I worked for Rolco Radio in advertising sales for about 6.5 years. I was doing
selling spots online or on air.
Yeah, and I was kind of like an ag sales coordinator, and worked really well. And then I ended up at the Western Producer from there, sales managed for 6.5 years, and then publisher for a couple.
Yeah.
And then we kind of had a parting of ways, and I worked a little bit in marketing for Ad Farm for a couple years at New Holland, and then just reached out to John, my boss, and on LinkedIn, I think, and I said, well, how's things in Calgary? And a few minutes later, he sent me a note back, and he's like, when can we talk? And boom, boom, boom. 2 weeks later, I'm looking for a place to stay in Calgary.
Amazing. One thing leads to another, and just via text message at that point, I'm assuming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's excellent. So we just talked about it before we started, and I have to talk about it. Your son has, I'm a big hot dog fan, and we were talking about sauerkraut earlier because he has a business. Let me hear about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. He's in Calgary, and, we spend a lot of our career in Saskatoon. So I think that's where he developed some of his, skills and inspiration to become a chef. And so he's been doing that. We were chatting about Earl's a little bit earlier, but he got married last summer, and his wife is a chef as well. And so they just are big time entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So they started a company called Crooked Kraut.
Yep.
With Crooked, I think Crooked with a K.
Yeah.
And
that's a great name.
Yeah, and they basically just carried it on, and so he makes a dill pickle and a sriracha, and I think like a pineapple ginger and a bunch of different flavors. So then that just kind of evolved into them actually opening up. It's kind of like a indoor farmers market.
Gotcha.
And it's in the south end of Calgary, Avenida Market. It's kind of the south end of McLeod, close to Anderson.
Okay.
I'll put a plug in if you're ever in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm going to call. Yeah, for sure.
So they put kraut on. He make an amazing Reuben. He made his own sauce for that, and Leanna makes an amazing borscht, and they put kraut into the borscht, and she makes a a great new corn chowder soup, bacon corn chowder, and they put kraut into that, and they put kraut on Brussels sprouts, and basically kraut goes with everything.
With everything, yeah. So I have the two things out of that. I'm a huge Reuben guy, Jay. I don't know if you are, but like I am a massive Reuben guy. So that's one of my pulls to Calgary. We might have to go on a road trip.
Yeah, I like it. I'll take down a Reuben. I'm fine with that.
Crap, I should have brought you a deconstructed one.
Yeah,
which
that's
we
right.
do. So it's basically all broken out, and then you
and then you make
it at home.
Oh, that's genius. Absolute genius. And then the second thing was you mentioned your daughter-in-law makes a borscht.
Yeah.
My grandmother, and we always called it red soup.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan, but like my brother Andrew, he like lives for it, and obviously my mom and dad just love it. And every time we went over to grandma's, she made borscht. It's a beet based, is it not? Yeah, but they add sauerkraut to it, or is it just like?
Yeah. It's primarily beet based. There could be maybe a few other vegetables, like maybe some peas in it or whatever. Maybe a little bit of potato, but they add kraut to everything, and it's just it's the bomb.
Yeah, it is the bomb. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get. The Reuben is what I'm going to get there, and then I'm assuming they make jars that I can take home. Right?
Yeah, they make a nice little jar of it, and he jars his sauces as well, and they jar borscht and freeze that if you want to take some home.
Yeah, I'll do it all. I'm going to do it all, Larry.
I've never had beet soup. Ever.
Really?
Never. I love beets.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
you can't beat them.
You got to take this, Larry, because I mean, I tried my best to like my grandmother's borscht, and God bless her soul, like she's an amazing cook, and I just couldn't get onto it.
What nationality is Mazer?
I believe like I thought it was a mix of German but I asked Grandma one night, and she said it's Ukrainian.
Oh,
yeah. So it was actually UR. Ed Mazer Sr. at one point just said, no, it's not UR anymore, it's ER. So he actually changed it. It's like a legal name change. I'm not sure when that happened, but so long story longer, when we came out here to Regina, Pops always said, I'm coming home, because he was born in Radville, Saskatchewan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they grew up in like the Ogama Amulet area. That's where their farm was. So when he was 9 years old, that's when my grandpa sold the farm and moved to Brandon. So and then there is Mazers around here, a couple that are spelt the same, a few that are off breeds like the UR, and then there's like a weird IER too, which I think is Mazier, but it's Mazer.
Mazer.
Something like that anyway. So,
interesting. We've got it's interesting when you trace it back. I'm mostly German, but I've got some Romanian gypsy on my mom's side. We haven't quite figured out where that is, but we all like to move around, so
of course,
maybe that relates.
Yeah, maybe it was a new identity for Grandpa when he changed the spelling of it. I don't know if that's a good story to ask Pops when we get him on here. I always said Dad was going to be episode 10, but he might be episode 20 now. Very sought after episode, but.
Or maybe he'll be 13.
Yeah, it could be next, right? Yeah. We're gonna skip 13. We talked about this already. We're just gonna go straight to 14.
That's a decent idea. Just 13 doesn't exist.
Yeah, it does not exist at all.
Yeah.
So did NADA? Obviously, like really quick stats. Like how many dealers memberships would you say there is in NADA?
Well, we would have we call them rooftops, so locations.
Gotcha.
So we would have about 400 plus in Canada, and then about another probably 3,500 in the U.S.
Gotcha.
And it's a great organization. We do incredible amounts of things for dealers, and I'm not blowing our own horn, but
you should.
I was taking I think it's called the Canadian Association of Association Executives. It's kind of like an MBA for people like myself, and I'm comparing what we do to these other not for profits. And we rock. Really.
Nice, right on. So do you do? I was going to kind of slide into Egg or Techna, but first, so you have like a booth to say like Egg or like Egg Days in Brandon or anything like that? Like,
not usually. Usually, if I go to Egg Days in Brandon, I'm really going to we'll typically have a dealer meeting there.
Yep.
Just talk about things that are a concern or whatever of dealers, things we can help them with.
Yep.
And then I'm really walking the show to talk to some of the short lines or the main lines, because that's one thing we do is industry relations. So that's a big thing for us is meeting with New Holland, or could be suppliers like Seedmaster, Seedhawk, Vatterstad, Borgo, MacDon, Honeybee, all those. That's kind of what we're always trying to do, is to make sure that we've got the relationship with those short lines. So if there's any issues, we can iron them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right on. So you and I were chatting a little bit just in the past week here about the release of the Combine and Agritechnica, or it was, Mickey maybe had a question about, if it was out here. There was a camouflaged version of the CR11.9, which was just released at Agritechnica, which is super exciting. It's a completely redesigned Combine for New Holland. So you guys wouldn't have any exposure over there. Like, I mean, obviously it's a North American.
Yeah, not really, other than I'd love to go sometime.
Yes. Yeah. It's like obviously the biggest, for our listeners, it's like the biggest farm show in the world.
Yeah.
I believe it's only 2 years, every second year, third year.
Every second or every four. It might even be like the Olympics. It's a big show, though.
It's huge, yeah.
What a great place to unveil that. And I was watching some video of that CR.11, and it's a monster. It's a beast.
It's a monster, yeah.
And what in the world you were saying? You guys did some testing, and you were measuring it in grams. How much canola it was throwing over? Like really nothing.
No, it was like 1.5 grams of canola, and I don't know how you convert that to bushels an acre, but like, I mean, it was like minimal. Like now, mind you, we had like the 11.9 is the biggest that they'll make. We had a 50-foot MacDon head on the front of it, which New Holland now is a relation with. We're making, MacDons with New Holland covers on them, which is great. Apparently they had a 60-footer on when it was up at Novelands that was just mowing crop down like crazy. But the power behind this thing, and we've got, almost coming on 50 plus years of twin rotor technology, right? I know our green friends are trying to get into the market, and I mean, good for them. But obviously, they recognize that the twin rotor is a very, very good design, and it's a very efficient design. So, our twisted sister that's in color and red, they will receive. And I don't know. I'm sure I'm allowed to say this now, but they will receive the 11.9 to compete with the X9 and the bigger customers. But anything below that, they're going to stick with their single rotor, which is keeps.
Well, I know one of my nephews, Nick and Shayla. They're up in St. Walburg, so they buy their equipment from Noveland there,
right?
And he'll be just dying to run this thing. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we were tickled pink to get it down here, and it performed very well. Like, I mean, we weren't like testing like really balls to the wall speed of it, but I mean, it's efficiencies, and like I said, when we threw the pan, like, I mean, 1.5 grams of canola, like it's just
that's like nothing. I love the new gold color too.
I have bad news, Larry.
Really?
That was a wrap.
Really?
Yes. I know. I saw it too, and I was like, that color is amazing.
Okay, for all the New Holland people, the engineers that run New Holland, keep it gold.
Yes, keep
go
that
from
color.
yellow to gold.
Well, if you change that, Larry, you got to change all of them, and it's just like. But I mean, like we'll maybe plug some pictures after here, Jay. But
I want to get a picture of this gold.
Yeah,
is that from the Germany? Trip?
Yeah, it's from the trip. So this is where they released the new series, like the CR11.9, which will eventually take over. And I'm not sure of the marketing strategy there, but they're going to make a 10.9 and 11.9. And the 10.9 is kind of taking over our class 9, if I am translating this correctly. But I do think they're keeping the original design for anything below that, like an 8.9 and the legacy machine. So eventually they'll all switch to this, but when that is, I have no idea.
Can I ask a non-agriculture?
You go right ahead,
question?
buddy. This is what
when you say like 0.9 or 11.9, 10.9, 8.9 or whatever it is that a model number, or does the 11 stand for a size?
It does stand. It's both. It's so in New Holland terms, it is a model number, and it also is the class size of the combine.
Yeah, because that new one's a class 11.
Like it's
the biggest combine.
Yeah,
and in fact, I think when I was with New Holland, I think the 10.9, the CR won the award for the highest capacity combine in the world.
Oh, for sure, it's got
and
records.
That was one class smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is big more giant step.
Farmers with more acres could benefit from a wider, larger, faster moving combine.
Yeah, correct. Like right now we're kind of in that, big heads at the 45-foot range. I know I think there's a 50-foot available on the X9s. We have a 50-foot MacDon available, but I mean on this new one they did have a prototype 60-foot. So if you imagine 60 feet of swath, that you guys, I mean, you got up to 4 or 5 mile an hour on a good crop. Like, I mean, you are mowing acres, like crazy amounts of acres. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to, like, when this is before we straight cut, like years ago, we used to swath with a 30-foot swather. So that's 2 swathers wide.
Yeah, that's right.
That you're basically eating up into a combine. Like it's massive acres. And if you got big quarter section or even section size fields and there's no trees or bush or
Yep.
whatever. It's the bomb for sure.
Oh yeah. Like, and I mean, and going back to, when I was first getting into farming with Pops, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old, we were running the TR96 at that point and maybe a couple of TX36s, but we were swathing too, canola, obviously. We were using this 36-foot head, and that was a big swath for those machines. Like, you were creeping right along. So now we're, as Larry said, Jay, we're double the size there, and obviously we're increasing the speed too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.
And it's just, it feeds so much nicer too. Cause if you're straight cutting and it's just going onto a draper head and feeding really nice into the feeder house, night and day difference versus swathing it. And then you get it sometimes bunchy and all kinds of things.
Yeah. You get high winds like we do here in Saskatchewan. And if you get swaths, they'll actually roll over in the field, and then it's just a mess to clean up. And the thing about canola is once you cut it down, that seed pod becomes very brittle.
Well, it used to. Like, it's amazing the pod technology that they've bred into this stuff. So any guys I talk to, they have very little loss now while it's standing in the field, even if they get a lot of wind or whatever.
So
technology is amazing.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And they're actually on the technology front. I do have a plug for New Holland here. They just announced, and I've got the link in my inbox, so I'll send it to you. But Scott Wine did tell us this on his visit to us. I think it was a couple months ago, beginning of September. But by 2025, New Holland is aiming to have an all in-house factory designed suite, like technology suite. Right now, where that was a big reason for the acquisition of Raven, obviously. But New Holland's been kind of playing catch up in the technology side of things for a while now, and I think the quote was from Scott was since 2019. Because I'll say it right out. Like, I mean, the benchmark is JD Link from John Deere, and it's an all-in suite for a farm. Everything from telematics to online data, as far as layered mapping and that sort of thing. So that's where we need to get to, and that's where we're on our way. So
nice.
No, it's good stuff. So. I'm good for segments. Do you have anything you'd like to ask me, Larry?
I do, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to.
You will just ask it.
I'm just yanking your chain.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's for afterwards. Yeah, maybe after the dealer panel, we go for a lunch or something like that, and then you can ask me those questions.
I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Sure. Tell me about your family.
Family. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
because you got a little bit of a blend, don't you?
We do. Yeah. So Logan and I have known each other. My current wife have known each other forever. We met in high school, and she went her way, I went my way, and our past led to previous marriages before us. I had been separated for a while, so had she. And do you remember Houston's in Brandon?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So we were at a Houston's, which is a renowned drinking hole in Brandon, Jay.
Yeah. I know Houston's.
That's right. Yeah. And I saw her there one night, and I just wasn't taking no for an answer. So, we started hanging out, and things just clicked very well. So we started dating. 2.5 years later, we were married. We both had kids from previous marriages. I've got a 10 turning 11-year-old daughter, Lauren, and she's got a 10-year-old son, Jax. So Lauren's big into major production. She's recently, she's going to star in Elf, which is at the end of the month here, actually this weekend. And she's got the role of Michael Hobbs. So like Elf's brother, like when he moves to New York or
That's
whatever.
One of the best Christmas movies. That Christmas Vacation.
Good. Yeah, those are like the two staples you have to watch once a year. So she's got like 100 lines and two songs she's got to sing. So she's right into that. And Jax is just a little superstar hockey player. Yeah, so he's tied up with hockey pretty much every weekend, which we love to go to those games and cheer them on. So it's awesome. And and just our setup fortunately works very well. Like, I mean, we have good relationships with our ex-partners who are both in other relationships. And it just works out very well.
It's kind of funny, the similarity. So Nancy and I met, we're like 25 plus years now, both second marriage too. And we met in a club in Saskatoon, and I was out with some buddies, and we had actually met each other before, but we kind of reconnected. And she's got a son from her first. I've got two daughters from my first. And so Miranda's 37. She's probably like your age.
She's younger.
Yeah,
I'm 41
younger.
if you can believe it.
Yeah. Well, you don't look 41.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought you were going to maybe say something too.
You don't look 41 either.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't. 20 years ago, I looked 41.
There you go, right on. Yeah.
So she's a biologist out in Victoria, and Chelsea's a social worker and works in kind of career education and that kind of thing too. And she's 35, and then Lyndon's the chef in Calgary at 30, and he just got married. So I think Leanna is 32, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So same thing. And the blended family, like it's wonderful. Like they're awesome. All our kids now and have been that way for years, and they're thick as thieves, and it's a good deal.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Lauren and Jax are like two peas in a pod, and like you said, thick as thieves. So they, they have their brother sister moments, but they also have their team up against mom and dad moments too. So and I love every second of it. And then I forgot to mention that Logan and I have his 3-year-old son Carter, who is an animal to say the least right now. Well, he's a little boy with a ton of energy. Obviously, love the shit out of him, but he's going into kind of preschool daycare right now, which is awesome. And things are just rocking and rolling. It was crazy. The time that Logan and I really started dating, because that was back in 2015, and actually almost like, would it be 8 years ago to the day? Almost. Like she said the other weekend.
You better know that.
I should. Well, it was like, the night we saw each other at Houston's, and then we started getting in touch. In December of 2015 was kind of like let's make it official, because she came back she was living in Regina at the time, believe it or not. So I convinced her to move back to Brandon.
Nice.
We stayed there for a couple of years, and our kids were, the older ones were just turning 3 at that point. See, 2013, just turning 3 at that point. So,
and then you dragged her back to Regina.
Yeah. Well, at the time, like we didn't know how it was going to work, because Jax, her son was just going to start school in Avonlea. His dad is from Briarcrest. So he was just going to start school in Avonlea, and we didn't know how that was going to work with her being in Brandon, but lo and behold, like August of 2018, the talks for this dealership started, and that was the year he started school. So we were back and forth here a little bit in the latter part of 18, and March of 2019 we moved here, and the old saying goes, the rest is history. Just love it here. Like, admittedly, Larry, I thought Regina was like the armpit of Canada, and maybe it was at one point, but it is.
But when you moved here, it upped the grade, right?
I absolutely love it here. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's a perfect size. It doesn't take long to get anywhere, as long as it's not like 4:30 in the afternoon or 8:30 in the morning, when everybody's going to work. But it's a great size. There's lots of options for entertaining and going out for dinner and stuff like that. And it's just it's a beautiful city. Yeah. Beautiful city. I'm at a perfect spot just on the east side of town. I'm about 10 minutes to work here. And not only that, like, moving out here to this Pacific dealership, the people here are just amazing. Like, not to say that, like, I was just used to my Manitoba Mazer Group family, right? But like, moving into a dealership that's so welcoming and so excited to be a part of the Mazer Group.
Well, in the Markesons, they ran just a fantastic operation. Like, you couldn't buy a better dealership group.
No, it was
customer base and everything else, and
and they viewed it as we do, Larry. And this is a family owned and operated company, and we just have empathy for the farmers. Dad's a farmer by heart. and that's that's legacy through his dad, because Grandpa Ed was a farmer out here. And so if we want to get involved and do some operating, sometimes you do that. It's just it was a wonderful move. Wonderful move. We're not that far from the motherland, I call it. We're only 3 hours to Brandon now. 2.5 if you got a radar detector.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Hey, one thing I know about Manitoba Highway Police, though, is they don't mess around.
No,
they will.
No,
I've gotten some tickets that would blow your mind.
It's the biggest find. How do Manitoba has the biggest speeding fines ever.
Really? $600 for going like $130.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, that's not excessive to me, but they're like those guys that raise the price of pills or pharmaceuticals in the States. That's what the police are doing in Manitoba to tickets.
Oh yeah,
they're like, $600.
Yeah, we're up 700% from last year.
I notice that all the time, because we do the number one a lot, because we have a place out at Elbow at Lake Diefenbaker.
Oh, okay, right on.
In the summer, and
I
just set my cruise at 123, and I can drive through check stops all the time. They just don't care.
That's the magic number. 123.
Yeah, I say it's 124. But
124 is good too. You're just on the edge.
I have once.
If you're going downhill, you might hit 125 and then you're hooped.
Right? Then you're hooped. Yeah, I have once at 124 got the lights like hey, slow her down, coming the other way. And I was like, I gave him the brake tap and that was all that was. But
I did get pulled over once just outside of Swift Current at 123.
Really?
And just a young cop and he was really nice and everything. I had Lynn and Leanna, we were heading out to the lake and he just really wasn't very happy I was doing that speed.
Yeah. Really?
I
on
said,
number one?
On number one. And I said, well, we go 123 all the time in Alberta. And he said, well, this isn't Alberta. And I was like, oh crap, I'm done. Yeah. I'm getting one. Yeah. And he let us go. So it was good.
Oh, that's awesome.
The same thing happened in Manitoba. Like if it's 110 now, I think it used to be 100 on the number one.
Yeah.
Now that it's 110.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could go 123 and go through a check stop. And
like if
I think they'd get you.
Yeah, I think so. Like if they're on the side of the highway and they're clocking you, like, I mean, because I mean, you say like, like $130, Jay, like you're $600, the multiple of each kilometer is like insane. Like if you were doing 140, it's $1,000. Yeah. Like crazy numbers.
I always look at what's the difference, right? Yeah. So I know I'm going to go 123. So if I go 130, I'm really getting 7 kilometers more an hour. So over 4 hours, that's like 28 kilometers. Like whoop-de-doo.
That's exactly how I look at it.
So that's my logic, right?
Yeah. So like,
smart man.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say
I'm
this.
not sure. Smart, but
smart. We'll call it
cautious.
Smart. Yeah. Well, you're
frugal.
Yeah. Frugal. That's right. That's exactly the way I think. Because I mean, like, I shouldn't know if I should say this on, but I mean, and I figured out like I can save a half an hour with this radar detector if I needed to. We might have to edit that out. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But anyway, I think about it the same way you do. If X amount of kilometers more, but if you're driving through it, like if it's an hour, like from here to Raymore, like, I mean, you're going to save, call it 6 minutes or 7 minutes, but yeah, like, I mean, a 3-hour drive or a 350 kilometer drive over 3 hours, like it saves some time.
Yeah, it's funny. I like to listen to podcasts, right? So put a plug in for yours, but it's funny. I was listening to this one, and he said just for fun, drive the speed limit. Yeah, and around Calgary, like you can't. Like everybody's blown past at least 10K over the speed limit all the time, right? Yeah. And so I tried for like an hour and it just drove me crazy. I'm too much of an A-type. Like I just can't do it. And he said it was relaxing. And I was like, no.
It's not relaxing. If anything, it's giving you anxiety.
It was.
I mean, people blowing past you. Like,
I was on a road trip a few weeks ago and roads were clear. Yeah. Sun shining down. Yeah. And the guy who was driving, first time traveling with him, was going under the speed limit. Yeah. And I almost...
Like under 100?
Yeah. If it was 110, he was going 105.
Yeah.
He was probably 100, it was 95. Yeah. He was. And you know what? I almost dove out of the car. I couldn't even take it. Like my impatience is just not
pulling
okay.
your hair out, eh? Yeah.
Under the speed limit?
Yeah.
When your eyesight's fine and your body's working fine.
That's like, right. Yeah. Yeah. And couldn't get a better day to drive. Like, I mean, yeah.
I had one time the worst experience of my life, probably. So you know how you're going down the divided highway? Yep. And it's like the left lane should be clear. Oh, yeah. Unless you're driving in the left lane. And I drive in the left because it's smoother quite often. Yes. But as soon as somebody's in my rearview mirror, I pull over to the right and they pass me on the left. Everything's good.
That's the way to do it.
I'm driving along and, I basically go into the left lane to get past. And this guy is driving beside a semi-truck for, I kid you not, probably 5 miles.
Oh,
drove
I guess
me crazy.
Like would not move.
Speed. You were boxed in. I was boxed in. And he had kind of an old kind of looking truck, and back in the day used to have the gun rack in the rear view or the rear window
with guns.
He almost had that kind of a look. Yeah, he just looked pretty hillbilly. So I just didn't really hassle him. But I did actually call 911 and I said, this is an emergency, but can I talk to the local police? And I said, this guy's being just a yahoo. And he like literally probably 5-6 miles, and eventually I trying to remember. I think I probably blocked it out. I'm not sure what happened. Drive me crazy.
No kidding. Yeah. Like, and that in itself drives me crazy. And like, you've got more patience than I do, because even with the gun rack in it, I would be right on that guy's ass.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're getting a picture here, man. Yeah. Okay, good.
My beer's getting empty.
Yeah. Well, I wish it was beer at this hour, but segments, Jay, take us through something.
Yeah.
here.
No,
we're going to lighten it up a bit here.
Yeah. I just got one here. It's just overrated, underrated. This is a good way for us to get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Perfect.
So I'm going to ask you a few things, and all you got to tell me is it overrated or underrated, and a little bit why, or if you don't have a reason, you just think it, that's fine too.
Okay.
So you kind of touched on this, but is CFL football overrated or underrated?
Oh boy, I got a bad audience for. I'm a huge Packers fan and a huge NFL fan, so I'd say the CFL is about right rated in a good year. Like I sorry to say, but I was blown away that Montreal beat the Bombers.
So was I. Yeah,
and hell of a game, you know. And so that was a underrated CFL. Like that was a great game.
Yeah, it was a great game.
And Green Day for the halftime show. Like awesome. Like unbelievable.
Totally.
Yeah. So I would say properly rated with you. I don't know if that's an answer, but like, yeah,
it's kind of a cop-out answer. You got the whole reason is you got to pick. If you know, gun to your head, is it overrated or underrated?
Okay, so gun to my head, I would say overrated. And the reason I do that is because like I was explaining football to my wife Logan, and it was an NFL game. She's all up in this Kelsey Brothers, New Heights. Have you heard this? Like dating Taylor Swift, all that kind of stuff. So she's like, should we watch the game? Like, because the Eagles and the Chiefs played each other last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm explaining football to her, and I was like, the biggest thing you got to remember is 4 downs. You got 4 chances to make 10 yards. So we're watching the Grey Cup the other day, and I was like, I kind of did a quiz on her. I was like, what do we got to remember here? She's like 10 yards, 4 downs. I'm like,
no,
you have 3 chances.
3 downs.
Yeah, which
you really have 2.
You really have to. That's exactly right. You have 2 chances to make the 10 yards, and otherwise you're kicking the ball. So it really, I believe NFL gives more room for action. Yeah, with the 4 downs.
Yeah, I have to say, do you see how many former riders were in that game?
Oh yeah. Like Fajardo was a
former riders.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm not trying to tell the riders what to do, but that you know, guy runs 3 yards and you pass him the ball, and you need 10 yards. Like, that's just
the 2 and outs in CFL is the reason why I have to say overrated.
Yeah.
From a consumer of the sport.
Yeah,
Tradition aside, people want to hold on to CFL traditions.
Yep.
I can't get into a game that's 2 plays and kick.
2
plays and kick.
Yep.
Oh, there's an exciting run. Okay, 2 plays and kick.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I agree.
So you're overrated.
Yeah.
Call it overrated. Like,
and
it's okay.
Yeah, I really like 4 down football. And
you
know, really at the end of the day, I can't understand why you can't make 10 yards in 3 downs in the NFL.
Right.
But that just shows how good the defense is.
Absolutely.
Like it used to be a defensive game, and the scores were like 10-7 all the time.
Yeah. It's like a baseball score.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Love it. Next one. Camping. Overrated or underrated?
I'm overrated on this one.
Really? Oh, I'm huge under.
Are you an outdoor guy?
Oh, man, we have camped. Like, we had a tent, and then we had a tent trailer, and then we had a hybrid with the pop-out ends, and then we had a Class C, and then a big S Class A. And
oh, wow.
Now we've got it's called a destination trailer out at the lake at Diefenbaker there. And we love it. I built an outdoor kitchen this past couple of years, and
you see, you're tipping on not camping.
Well, this is glamping. This is glamping.
Yeah, this is glamping. Yeah.
But no,
Yeah, so like for camping,
he helicopters in, but he loves camping.
Oh yeah. Well, there is the helipad there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I'm way too old. This body's too old to sleep on a cot or
and that's when
a foam in a tent. Like, that ain't happening.
That's what I'm thinking when you're camping is like, you're setting up the tent.
No, we have a king bed made by good old Donald Trump. Yeah, it's a Trump bed in our trailer.
So I could do that all day long. Yeah, like my biggest things, and this is kind of just showing kind of my character, but like I need a shower and a bathroom. Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, same here.
So if you can make that happen. And then air conditioning would be nice too.
That's
on the hot days.
I
can't. Can't.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
But I'm going overrated as well. Next one. So this one is for someone who might like to smoke or to barbecue meat or whatever.
Yeah.
Is barbecue sauce overrated or underrated?
Ooh, that's a good
when you're cooking steaks, when you're cooking.
I'm going to leave this one to you, Larry. You started off.
I'm going under, but like on a steak, I am a big fan of like I don't marinate a steak very often. I just use Montreal steak spice.
Yep.
And you got to let it rest.
Yep.
That's one of the things I learned a few years back. But
like out of the fridge for an hour, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cook it warm. Yeah. But I mean, even after it's cooked, wrap it in tin foil and let it rest. Let juice kind of come back into the meat. But for ribs and stuff like that, or chicken. Like my wife's not a huge barbecue sauce fan. She's kind of like anti-sugar kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Sweet girl, but anti-sugar.
That's okay. Yeah. It keeps us in check, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. She keeps me slightly overweight. But it's kind of funny, but you can't, like, I made some homemade barbecue sauce this summer, and it was the bomb. And then we borrowed my buddy across the streets smoker. Yeah, he's got one of those really nice green
eggs. Oh, the eggs,
no, not an egg. It's something mountain. But it's a really nice green color. Yeah, it's a classic smoker, and we made a really nice brisket. And you gotta sauce it up for sure. But I'd say barbecue sauce totally underrated.
Have you tried? Are you the same?
I'm going underrated as well. I think people play around with all these marinades. Sorry, I should know that. And it's just sitting in your fridge, like one of the best sauces for anything barbecue related. I've always loved it.
Apple.
Too much is too much. Though.
Too much is too much. Yeah. Plug for Montana's, their apple butter sauce. Have you ever tried that?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Just head over there. You can buy. You can actually go into Montana's and buy it if you want this apple butter. But it's like,
is that where we're doing lunch?
What it says, it might be. It might be.
And from working in the restaurant industry, like the big thing was like steaks are quality meat.
Yep.
Cooked properly.
Yes.
With heavy salt, heavy pepper.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There is. If someone ordered steak sauce on the side.
Yeah,
it was kind of like taboo.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there was me just being like, "Yo, I'll take ketchup with my steak."
No,
I wouldn't.
Thank God.
Never.
Say you were that guy.
I'm never that. No, I wasn't that guy, and I wasn't even. By the end, I did like just a quality steak. But
Gordon Ramsay would tell you the same thing with the salt and the pepper.
Yeah, you got to buy a good steak. We usually buy a full loin, and then we cut it up ourselves. And
that's the way.
Oh yeah, the best.
Nice. One more. Give us one more. Have you got one more?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect.
Is karaoke overrated or underrated as a way of entertaining you and your friends?
Oh, wow. I would say it's underrated. And I say this because, like, growing up, it wasn't all karaoke. Do you guys remember what was the game? It was a rock band. Was it?
Oh yeah.
Where you could
Guitar Hero and
Guitar
Rock Band,
Hero. Yes, like that's like, because I mean, Guitar Hero. Was Guitar Hero the same game, or was it Rock Band where you could actually get the drums and you could actually get them?
Rock Band was the full thing. Guitar Hero led into the Rock Band.
Right. Yeah. So that was fun, and that was kind of a version of karaoke, if you will.
Yeah.
But I don't mind a karaoke and busting out some Frank Sinatra once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could do Frank.
Good. I have before, and I've gotten a few compliments in a room of 100. 2 people came up. So that was good.
Really?
I took that. Yeah.
You would probably listen to a lot of Bublé then too, hey? Just mood music.
Yeah. Mood music. Yeah. Mood music. Yeah.
So are we supposed to go point counterpoint or not?
No, you
whatever you want.
I got to do underrated then too, because I like to sing. I got.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. We have like a lot of musical people in my family. So when we get together every summer for a week for the Hertz reunion out at the lake.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of sing-songs and
nice. Yeah. How many people get together for that?
Last year we were probably pushing 37. I think we hosted for one night.
Wow.
Yeah, and we host it, but I mean we don't cook every night. Usually, family members get together and all that kind of stuff. But we're a big musical family. We love sitting around the campfire singing songs, and that's kind of I guess glamping karaoke, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Do you play any instruments?
I've been trying to play guitar. Like Nance bought me a guitar likely 26 years ago. It's still kind of sitting dusty on the guitar stand. So
it's there though.
I know like G and C and maybe F.
Oh, there.
And then I bought a bunch of harmonicas because you got to buy them each for each different chord, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know anything about harmonicas. Yeah, you taught me something there.
7 major keys, so each harmonica goes with a key.
Yeah, really? I think I bought 5. So, but I'm a huge like Neil Young kind of fan. Love the harmonica or some of that kind of stuff. But so those are when I get more time.
Gotcha. Well, maybe next time that you come on, Larry, you're going to be this rock star guitar player.
Guitar hero.
That's your homework for now. You got to go home and then we're going to bring the guitar in and you're going to play a song for us.
I'll challenge you for that too.
There you go.
Guys both.
I like it.
You're a rock star though. You play.
Yeah,
I play. Yeah,
he's in a band. Yeah, and he's unbelievable.
So I've played for years, and karaoke. When you're a singer and a musician, sort of. I mean, I don't want this to come across like I think I'm good because I'm not that good. But there's a couple rules with karaoke. you can't be too good and you can't be too bad.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta be somebody in the middle.
You
there.
got to be in the middle, because if you're too good, get off the stage and go play music.
Yeah.
If you're too bad, just know that it's irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the middle, though, the people that are like, this is their chance to maybe, have the confidence to sing in front of their friends, and they're actually pulling off, and they can bring more people in.
Yeah.
I like that karaoke, but I can't sit through too much karaoke. But sitting around a campfire, group singing, I'm
That's
all
a lot
in.
of fun.
I don't know if you guys saw it. It was just on Facebook or something the other day, but Jewel did a thing where she went to some sort of a club.
Yeah.
And she was dressed as kind of like a everyday.
Yeah, like in disguise.
In disguise, totally. And it was her and a bunch of coworkers. They were going out for drinks after and all that kind of thing. And she had put on a fake nose, different hair, glasses. Totally didn't look like her, because Jewel's a pretty girl, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so anyways, they're like all her friends, her coworkers, they go up and do the singing and everything like that. And they're really pushing her to do it. And finally the whole pub gets behind it, and they're like, come on, go sing. And she gets up there and she sings like Jewel. And everybody's like,
blown away. Yeah. Did she reveal herself?
Well, that she didn't. And everybody was just like, wow. Hey. And then they interviewed a few people during this.
Yeah.
And then she goes away, and then she took off her disguise, and then came back as Jewel. And everybody's like,
that's fucking Jewel.
She looks like Jewel. oh, that is Jewel. And it was just hilarious. And then some of the guys that they interviewed before, they were like, that was Jewel?
Yeah.
Like they were just like, duh. But they had probably too many beers, right?
Yeah, so, that's right.
I don't know.
Would have made a difference.
It's classic. You should watch it.
Oh, for sure.
It's first class.
Yeah.
I will. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate that. Larry.
Loved it.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
This has been awesome. I'm looking forward to Thursday and our fireside chat in front of the manufacturers. And can we have you back?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Next time.
If you want me back.
I do want you back for sure. And I'm going to hold you to that guitar thing. So thanks again. And
thanks for the invite. We'll have a guitar harmonica thing.
Something. Yeah. I like it.
Everybody that's been on the podcast has got to come back and play an instrument, even if it's a kazoo, right?
That's right. Thanks again, Larry.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.